Hey folks, I'm Madelaine Rose. My pronouns are she, they. I am one of the current co-chairs of Out ACTRA TO, alongside the lovely Matt Lemke, whose pronouns are he, him, and unfortunately he can't join us today. And I'd love to pass it to Asher.
Hello, good morning, friends. My name is Asher Rose. Tragically, no relation to Madeleine Rose, although I would be honored if we were related. Um, my pronouns are they and them. I'm an ACTRA member and I'm the chair of the Gender Diversity Subcommittee of ACTRA Toronto, which I'm sure we'll be talking a little bit more about as we go on and talk about these awards in this new category. And I will pass it to Rabia.
Hello, hello. My name is Rabiya Mansoor. My pronouns are she, her, or they, them. And I was the inaugural winner of Outstanding Performance Non-Binary Gender Non-Conforming. And I'll pass it along to Kinley.
Hey everyone, my name's Kinley Mochrie. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm an ACTRA member. And I'm gonna pass it along to my my mom.
Hi, everyone. My name is Debra McGrath. My pronouns are she, her. I'm an ACTRA member and a former member of council and a founding member of the Out ACTRA committee. I will pass it to my lovely husband, Mr. Colin Mochrie.
Hi, I'm Colin Mochrie. My pronouns are he, him. I'm an ACTRA member, and I was really big in the 90s.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. We're here today to chat about the newest award, the newest ACTRA award that came out that Rabiya was the winner of. Would anyone like to take it away and ask Rabiya a question? Put Rabiya in the hot seat.
Okay, I will. Interesting. I don't know. Does everyone here know a little bit of the history of how long this award was in the making, the naming of the award? Yeah, that might be interesting to say. It was some years back during the plague, when we were all, Zooming meetings, etc. And even I think before, where we talked about the necessity, and council was passionate about doing it. And it really was a great lesson in, for me, how we conduct ourselves in the world regards respect for people's pronouns and respect for people's identity. Because the issue was never about, we don't want that award. The issue was, how do we make it happen? And at first, we were doing it with people, and we are the first to admit, that shouldn't have been making this decision. And we battled it out. And then it was, wait a minute, we got to bring folks in. I think, Kinley, you were brought in one of those early meetings to give your opinions. And the issue was everyone agreeing on the phrasing. And, several of us backed away and just let those who were directly affected by it. Again, a lesson in life, directly affected by it are the people who should have the opinion. So it was wonderful not only to watch the evolution and me thinking, oh, that's a good name, and then someone going, no, because, etc. In the beginning of the Out ACTRA committee, we had a 2-day meeting on whether to use the word queer. And I backed out. And it was quite fascinating because I always said, I'm here to help, but I will never talk policy or talk anything I don't know about. And there was a big pushback. And they finally, sorted it out and decided queer was the prevailing word. But the same thing happened with this meeting. This award. And I'm glad it worked out. In the end, I wasn't there when it was landed on, but I just thought it was nice. It would be nice to start out with, that's the process. I have people say to me, they, them, well, why don't they come up with, and go ahead, I'd love your suggestions. Well, just, I think, please offer forth suggestions. Well, it's just that, you know, I call it it's just that argument.
Mm.
Come up with something better, because if you think people haven't tried to find something that's easy. So anyway, I hope that's okay. I just wanted to start it out with the evolution of this and the demand by all of us for people to get on board.
I
Yeah.
really
And
appreciate that context.
it's evolved since then as well. It originally, the naming of this award was, and someone please feel free to help me out with the exact phrasing, but it was originally 2 awards. There was female and non-binary, or female and gender non-conforming, and
Yes.
male and non-binary, and male or male gender non-conforming. There
That's
were
right.
these 2 awards, but it's still sort of, there was this element of inclusivity, but it still sort of forced folks who are in the middle or outside of to pick a side, which sort of really quite defeats the purpose. So there was, I commend the folks who started the process and were so willing to learn along the way and landed somewhere, and then allowed for folks to take it even further. And on your point, Deb, about the naming of this award, that continued right up until right up until it was sort of announced about nominations for it. Like it really continued.
Wow.
The naming and the logistics of it. Asher, I might pass it to you if that's okay to discuss, because the Gender Diversity Subcommittee had lots of discussions within the context of ACTRA, but then also separately within the Gender Diversity Subcommittee meetings as well, about this award and about the naming and about how it could come about in an informed way.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, really appreciate that background piece, Deb. And I think it's really important as we're talking about moving forward and renaming things and rejigging categories, that there's an appreciation of the fact that at every step along the way, people have been doing the best with the information they had and trying to listen and trying to make wise choices and move the dial forward. And the fact that there's a change doesn't mean the previous iteration was, inherently wrong, but there's more information now. And as you said, Deborah, there were more people at the table who had that lived experience of a non-conforming identity. So when I joined out ACTRA, one of the first things that I asked was if there was a subcommittee specifically for trans and non-binary and gender non-conforming ACTRA members. And I think that there had been various iterations of that had, fallen by the wayside as people get busy. So I asked if I could reform it, and that's how the Gender Diversity Subcommittee in its current iteration came about. And one of the very first things that we looked at were the ACTRA Toronto Awards, and whether there was this possibility not just for renaming, but for introducing a new category. And that felt really important to us, because the issue in and of itself wasn't the names, it was the fact that there were 2 categories when we know there are not 2 genders. And for people who really truly do fall outside the gender binary, the question of having to align yourself, well, are you girl non-binary or boy non-binary, ended up feeling, that wasn't the right move. So we talked a lot about what the route forward would be. And the Gender Diversity Subcommittee is entirely comprised of non-binary, trans, and gender diverse, gender non-conforming ACTRA members. And we all have very different experiences and different perspectives, different gender presentations. And so we went back and forth for many, many meetings on what that could look like. One of the options was to do what the DORA Awards, the Toronto Theatre Awards had done, which was to remove gendered categories altogether. And, in a way that would be a far more cost-effective option, only 1 statuette rather than 2 or 3 or more. But we decided in the end, what we wanted to do was allow more people to be recognized, and to be recognized specifically, because that was what we found really exciting about the possibility of having an award for a non-binary or gender non-conforming performer. And Rabiya, I'm really excited to hear your thoughts and feelings about being the inaugural winner. But we wanted somebody to be able to be recognized as a non-binary, gender non-conforming actor. And something that I felt really strongly about, and Madelaine and I spoke about this on stage when we presented the award, was the benefit of having the 3 categories is it doesn't lump trans men and women in with non-binary people. Not that we're obviously all part of a community, but trans men should be recognized as men, trans women should be recognized as women, and gender nonconforming people should be recognized as gender nonconforming actors. So having these three categories really allowed everybody to be celebrated and for more actors to be celebrated. Something else I want to bring up, and we can get more into it later because I know we all have a lot of questions, is I think the beauty of having these categories is allowing for fluidity in actors self-identifying. And I think it's worth celebrating the fluidity of actors and of individuals, but also the fluidity of language. Exactly, as you said, things change. And it's okay to, 1 year have the award called one thing, learn more, and the next year have a new category, have it called something else. Similarly, as people discover their identities, grow, change their minds, it's really important to have the option to say, well, this year maybe I was nominated as gender nonconforming. I've really come to understand I'm a trans man, for example, so I want to self-identify next year in the male category. And I think that having this award structure really reflects the true gender diversity of the ACTRA membership. End of long thought. Soapbox.
Asher Rose, can I just say something about that? It was a great thought, not too long at all. When we were coming up with the idea of the one award, and the idea was maybe give out 2 one awards. It was interesting because somebody said, and they will all be won by straight men. And that's why we didn't do it. And it's because the opportunity is there. No offense, my darling husband.
That's right. I never
does all the cooking. But it was true because there is simply more opportunity.
Exactly.
For men to shine in these roles. But what you were talking about, and maybe next year we'll do this, exactly. It's a living document. It's a fluid award. That's the beauty. The award itself can change and grow. And people can, because we had several people that we invited to talk to this when we were talking about male nonconforming, female not conforming. And they said, rightly so, I would not accept that award. I would not allow myself to. And so then it was give it over. But all those things you're saying, that's sort of, again, the history of it. It's like, and who would win this? And everyone went, men. And that was the end. So, and I love the idea that you think, and you're all open to the idea that next year, we're calling it something else, or that it stays this way. But this is evolving. Gender is evolving, and we have to evolve with it. I can't remember, do the Screenies do this? Were they before ACTRA? Or is it best male actor, best female supporting female support? What are they called? They're not called the Screenies.
The CSAs, you mean? The Canadian
Yeah.
Screening Awards? Yeah, they have, they don't have this. I don't know exactly what their categories are, but Madelaine and I, we did a fair bit of digging in anticipation of presenting this award, because we wanted to be able to say definitively that, as far as we know, this is the first of its kind. It's the first Screen Acting Award specifically celebrating the work of non-binary and gender non-conforming actors in the world.
Wholly. And we did reach out to them, just so you have this in your pocket. If further research is being done, we did reach out, so that I knew. It wasn't a no, but it was well, then we have to ... So it was reached out to. So I think with this having been done, having been presented, we could push this further to other Canadian organizations and then to the world.
Even honestly, even within ACTRA, there were some ... that came up when because from the Gender Diversity Subcommittee, from ACTRA, from all the work that you did previously, Deb, this all then went to the official sort of awards meeting, because there were other new category awards that came up this year, which are all fabulous as well for commercials and voice and things like that. And there's lots of other awards that were discussed as well that are hopefully, coming down into fruition as well. But there was also lots of and lots of questions that came from that meeting that I had the privilege of being in and advocating for this award. And there were lots of questions of, well, how would that work? How many nominees do we need? There was lots of questions about, do we have enough folks to be nominated in enough categories? And I believe my words were, what's your number? I'll make sure we hit it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
what's your number? We'll make sure we get there. Because that's just it. There are plenty of non-binary, gender non-conforming folks that are ACTRA members, but unfortunately, as we have lots of discussions about the importance of representation and authentic representation, and unfortunately, those roles are fewer. But that was also one of the hopes with this award, is that if producers and writers and directors and fellow actors see this award, they might think, oh, I should write more of these roles. I should empower myself to write these roles for myself. I should cast these roles. I should pick up projects with these roles. So there is that hope too, that it will only snowball and there will be more and more and more. And side note, there was a fair number of folks who got nominated. This question of, will there be enough nominees?
Not an issue.
It was never an issue.
Yeah.
I think at a certain point, someone piped up and said, well, what's the number you have to hit for the male and female categories? And they said, oh, we don't have a number. There's your answer. Yeah. So there was lots of discussions that came from lots of folks that sort of helped guide us to where we are now. And I look forward to there being more discussions and hopefully only more awards.
Yeah. And on that note, maybe we should start bugging Rabiya and asking about winning this award and the role that you won for. And yeah, so I'm maybe you could tell us a little bit about the project that you worked on, that you won the award for, the character, and then we're going to bug you a bit about winning the award and all of your thoughts and feelings around that.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. Yeah, I'm loving getting a bit more of the behind the scenes of like how this award like came to be and all the discussions and stuff. It's like, like so many years of advocacy went into this, and so it's just great to be here now. So for this project, Bad Accountant, it was a project that I co-wrote and co-produced with two of my close collaborators, Nisha Khan and Mariska Almeida. And when Mariska was originally conceiving of this idea, they're also non-binary, and so and it's based on their life working as an accountant, but obviously very exaggerated in a lot of ways. And when we were ideating on it, they were like, "Oh, like I want you to like play the lead role. Like, how would you feel about that?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I would absolutely like love to do that." Because in the past we worked on other projects together, and I've had roles like here and there, but they've been more kind of like supporting roles, and so this was kind of my first opportunity to kind of take more of that lead role, which was really exciting for me. And I think being one of the writers and producers on the project, it just gave a lot of opportunity to shape the character and to shape the story that we wanted to tell in a way that felt very reflective of like our own experiences. So, the character of Zubaira is also non-binary, also uses like she, they pronouns, and so it was a really, really fun project to work on because I got to kind of be there from the beginning and just really shape it. And what's also been kind of fun and wild to see with this is that, this was like a short film that we did as like a proof of concept for hopefully like a longer project. And so to kind of be recognized for that was just kind of really like amazing and very unexpected. So yeah.
Awesome. And it's such a great part. Like, and you bring so much of yourself to it, and just so much silliness and spark and perfect comedic timing. So I wonder, with regard to the award, if you could tell us a little bit about the background with the award. Did you self-submit? Did the production submit you? And at what point did you know that this was the category that you were nominated in?
Yeah, so I self-submitted. I saw that this was like a new category this year, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, okay, okay, ACTRA. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like self-submit, like, who knows, like, like, let's just try. And then like I submitted and then I kind of forgot about it. And then I got like a call, and usually, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I don't pick up unknown numbers. So when I got this like phone call, I was just like, I think I ignored the first call, to be completely honest. And then the same number like called back, and I was like, okay, maybe I should pick it up. Maybe it's important or whatever. And then I was just like, oh, like, congratulations, like, you've been like nominated. And I was like, I remember I was just like, I couldn't believe it, if I'm being completely honest. I was just like, oh wait, what? Seriously? Oh. It was, yeah, like, it was definitely like the highlight of my week for sure. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And I was like, yeah, I told like my friends, like my partner and everything. And it was just, yeah, it was like really, really exciting and like overwhelming in like the best way. Yeah.
You were so great in it, Rabia. It was great. I really enjoyed it. And your story is a cautionary tale. Please spread the word to other ACTRA members. You can self-submit, and you're the tale that it works. And a lot of people go, how embarrassing. No, it's not. And well, the producers didn't. Who cares? Who cares? Self-submit. Because a lot of times they go, even if there's two people in production, well, we'll only submit them because, no, you don't know what the voters are going to think. So it's not embarrassing. It's not, well, you could say it's self-promoting, but we're actors, for God's sake.
Yeah.
What we do.
And in this
we have
country,
to do.
we got the Academy behind us down there having luncheons and what have you. So yeah, I love that story that you self-submitted.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I think you're totally right. Like, I think it feels like, oh, like, should I, like, if no one else like nominated me or whatever, like, is it weird to do it? But I totally agree that it's just like, shoot your shot. Why not? Like,
Yeah,
like the worst is
exactly.
that you don't get nominated, which was going to happen anyways if you didn't self-submit. So
Yes.
yeah.
Great. Congratulations again.
Absolutely. Yeah, big congratulations. And I wonder, speaking about the category specifically, I mean, I know you said like when you heard about it, you're like, okay, yes, this is exciting. This is happening. When you found out you were nominated, and then we can get on to the fact that you won, how did it feel to be nominated and then the first ever winner in the world of this category specifically, like to not be in a binary acting category?
Honestly, like, all the positive, overwhelming like feelings, like, because I think like it's, I don't know, like, I think it's hard, because it's like you have to kind of like, quote unquote, like, pick a lane, right? And I think like there have been like other projects where I'll be like nominated, but it'd be like, oh, like, best like actress and stuff, and I'm like, okay, but that's not really. And I'm just like, okay, but like obviously it's still nice to like be nominated, but it's always kind of like, okay, like. And so when, like, yeah, just I'm a crier, in case that wasn't clear, but yeah, like, I think it's just, yeah, just this like really overwhelming, like, positive, like, affirming, like, experience to just be like, oh, okay, like, like, like like this is who I am, and I can be recognized for like who I am. Like, it's yeah, it's just like something incredibly like special. And I think like I hope the people who maybe had questions or doubts like about this award and whether it needed to like exist, like, it's like, oh, it absolutely like does. Like, this is something that like when I'm like, like 20, 30 years from now, I'll still like look back on and be like, what like affirming experience at such a like important moment in my life, like. And so yeah, so it's yeah, all the great overwhelming feelings that's
Mhm.
hard to put into words. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You
Thank you
did
so much for
beautifully.
sharing that. Yeah.
You told the world who you were, and you got an award for it.
Yeah. You got
Oh.
seen for that. Something that I love in general about the world, and specifically about the community of non-binary and gender non-conforming people, and all the different ways that we identify. And I feel like we really saw a cross-section of it in the nominees in this category this year, was that the whole point is that being gender non-conforming doesn't look one way. And yet in this visual medium that we work in, people want to have visual indicators of what type a person is, right? Like we've all experienced that. What's your hit? Are you going to actually cut your hair or dye your hair? Or is that really going to change how casting can see you? All of these things, like we fit ourselves into boxes. It's a huge part of working in a visual medium. And, you know, as I'm not going to say as gender nonconforming identities have become more prevalent, because God knows we've existed since time immemorial. But as public awareness and cultural awareness in this particular cultural context has increased, I think, you know, the industry looks for, okay, great. Oh, there's this category that exists that maybe we didn't know about, even though they've always existed. Great. What do they look like? And most often they think it looks like somebody like me. And for those who are only listening to audio, I am a white, slim, able-bodied person. I am androgynous looking. I have short pink hair and tattoos and piercings. So people will often consider like that's the quote unquote non-binary look, which is BS. It's my look because that's what feels true to me. But we know that gender identity and gender presentation are not the same thing. And it was beautiful seeing in the nominees a vast span of ages, of cultural and racial identities, of body types. It was, and everybody, and non-binary can mean something different to everybody. And it's not always quote unquote visually identifiable because it has nothing to do with how you look. Yeah. I don't know if there's a question in there. That's just something I felt really strongly about and that I loved in seeing this category. I was so glad that it wasn't 5 androgynous white people.
No, I totally
Although
agree.
that's a good series possibility.
Title, yeah.
On Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I totally agree that I think like people sometimes have like a specific image in their mind of what non-binary is, what non-binary people look like, and gender non-conforming people, like, you know, that they're of a certain type or you know, present in a certain way. And I think just the sheer like variety and like having people of all like different like ages and all of that, it was just like, you know, this is such a like spectrum. There's no one type. Like I really like appreciated that as well. And just seeing all the like wonderful nominees. Yeah.
And you know, as Maddie was saying, that the hope with this award is that it's going to create a cyclical effect where more writers are writing non-binary characters, more casting is casting non-binary actors in non-binary roles or in binary roles, because again, we look a million different ways and we're good actors. We can play different parts. And so hopefully it also leads to breaking down the industry's idea of what non-binary looks like. So if they have a non-binary, gender non-conforming character, maybe they'll bring both you and me in to audition for that role. And depending on who they cast, it could really inform the part based on our own experiences of what non-binary means. So yeah, I really, really hope that seeing you win this award, seeing the other nominees, I hope the beautiful crop of actors who are going to be nominated next year and going forward, we're going to see a much broader diversity and representation of what non-binary can look like. We can look like anything.
Yes to that. Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of the award, Asher, you and I got to present the award. How did it feel to present it?
It was very emotional. Yeah. It felt silly that it was the first one ever. you know, all day, I kept Googling to be like, I have to be wrong. I have to be wrong. Like this has to have already existed somewhere. And again, maybe it does. And I'm not going to speak definitively just because I couldn't find it through multiple Google searches. But it feels so obvious to me that this type of awards category should exist. And so for you and I to get to present the first ever one, it was so moving. And it was a chance to stand on that stage in front of our industry and in front of fellow union members, you know, who are committed to working together for a better industry, for better working conditions, and to say we belong in this industry, to say trans rights are essential, trans rights are human rights, they're being stripped away at fundamental levels in the States and in certain provinces and regions. And if one small thing we can do is representation, I mean, that's kind of what our industry is good at. And it's certainly not the only thing, but it is one thing that we have access to. We have public platforms and we have storytelling. And it was a huge thing for us to be able to stand on that stage and say the words trans men are men, trans women are women, and gender nonconforming people should not be forced to, as Rabiya said, to pick a lane that is not authentic to who we are. Yeah, and then to be able to read out Rabiya's name and see them come up and accept the award was so exciting.
Please tell me your presentation was recorded.
I think so.
I think
clips
so.
exist.
So yeah.
Yeah. I'll send it to you on Instagram, Deb.
Thank you.
What about you, Madelaine? I'll send the question back to you.
Yeah, it was so exciting. It felt like all of this work. It sort of felt like opening night of a show, and for our theater folks, like all of this rehearsal, all of this work, all of this setup, and then you finally get to walk out on the stage and say, this paid off. This work came to something really, really cool. And it was so beautiful to get to walk out with you, Asher, and get to present you the award, Rabiya. And we were standing right in front of the Colin Mochrie and Debra McGrath and Kinley Mochrie family who like donated to this award, which was so huge. And we'll get to that in just a second. I'm just putting a pin in that one. And it was so exciting and such a beautiful experience. And then Rabiya, you started to tear up as you were saying your speech, and then Asher and I were on the side going, "I'm not crying, you're crying, you're crying." Yeah, it felt huge. It felt really huge and monumental. And I'm gonna take that pin out now. How was it donating? Why did you choose to donate to this incredible award?
I think well, first of all, in my family, I have these two incredible women who are major activists. The Premier's office gets a call every week from my wife, which I think we're on a list now, but it's good. And also having gone through with, Kinley's journey and going through, also, I think our own careers, as an improviser, one of the beauties is you'll do a scene and then it's gone forever. One of the bad things about Whose Line was those scenes are forever recorded. And there are some scenes out there that as I see them, I immediately am covered with a cold sweat and going, what were we doing? How did this happen? And I realized that was through the true definition of ignorance. We were going for a laugh, not realizing that joke we just did just alienated an entire section of the population, made them feel bad. So things like that, through the learning process of many years, talking with other improvisers, and I have to say, at this point in time, everyone is so aware of making sure when we're improvising, it's just sweet, goofy fun, and it's not punching down. It's just making good choices. So when we had a chance to support this award. It just seemed, of course. We're supporting a group of performers that have been misrepresented or overlooked for way too long. And I think the beauty of this award, as Madelaine said, it will get people thinking. Directors, producers, casting directors, writers. Here's a whole section of people we have not used. And this award shows that, talent transcends gender. Talent is talent, and that is a celebration of that. So it was really a no-brainer for us to really get behind this. And I know Deb had been working actively and strongly on ACTRA Council to get this going for years.
Yeah, and I'm really proud for all of us to have our name attached to the award, just because, I'm not non-binary, but to be, when you're a person who goes to queer spaces, we'll say in Toronto, because that's where we are, like, you're going to be in a room with at least one non-binary person, oftentimes more. And so even before I came out as trans, like, I've known non-binary people, and just hearing for years the things that the injustice they face, and the ways in which, they're, as I think you just said, Dad, misrepresented, mischaracterized, and having to be pigeonholed into the binary. Ironically, again, when you think of the name, it was just truly, like, it was about time that this award came about. It was just, I was so immersed in the world of hearing about people talk about their struggles, and I'm glad we finally got to a place where now people can feel, oh, I don't have to, settle for a category that I don't really feel represented by.
And and for me, it was all the steps we have to take, and I hate to use this word, to normalize all genders. I hate the idea of normalizing, but that's really what I feel as an ally. Like, I'm almost an evangelist. I have a trans daughter. I'm here to spread the good word. But it's, we have to make it like it was with, and the one area in which I don't use queer is our older, God, I feel like Dr. Evil sitting here stroking my dog. Our gay white male friends who hate the word queer. They are gay. They felt queer was the word used to attack them. So, for example, I won't call them queer. I will call them gay. Our hairdresser, Kinley, my hairdresser. And I was talking one day and I said queer, and I went, Greg, are you offended by that word? He said, I'm not offended by you because I know you mean it the right way, which was generous, but I'm offended by the word. The word hurts me. So again, back to our conversation earlier about evolution, you can't group anyone. You cannot group anyone and say, we are saying this word, you've got to like it, because it changes and it hurts people for different reasons. So we chose to sponsor this award to make everyone feel the same. That's hilarious. But to normalize it, to go, here's an award, because like it or not, confused or not, this is happening, full stop. And it will evolve further. And if it comes out that we need another award for a group of people in the non-binary or any category that don't feel included, we've got to go forth with that. And as I said, contacting the Screenies again, we've got to spread this. We've got this to be a thing. This is important. And as you were saying earlier, Asher, and I think you were saying it, Madelaine, the oppression, the anger and that is coming out about, for example, and I just dashed off a letter to the Toronto Star, as is my wont, and stay tuned to my Instagram. Heather Malik of the Toronto Star today gave J.K. Rowling an award of admiration for her defense of women. And so my thing is, well, not the thing I actually wrote, but the thing that I said to my husband privately in our home. But I said, really, defense of women, that she picks and chooses. Careful, Heather, your or your transphobic flag is waving, and not for the first time. And the stuff that's going on in the US. And, you know, we were going to, when Trump got back in, take a trip to New York City for Easter. And all this started to happen, and the stuff against trans people. And we called Kinley to say, you know, honey, we're not going to go. We're not going to set foot down there. And she responded. May I say your response, Kinley?
I don't remember, but go for it.
Kinley said, and Kinley is American, just so you know. So there's also that extra layer, born in Los Angeles. And she went, Mom, I can't go. I'm not going. I'm not going there. And I called our local member of parliament, who I work for when he runs, to find out what the thinking was. And they said, well, because they helped us change her passport. They said, first of all, get your Ontario, then get your Canadian passport, then simply go to the American consulate and go, this is who I am. So Kinley's passport says Kinley James Mochrie. That for a while she considered changing to a J or Jaye, but she's named for her grandfathers. And she said, I'm going to keep the James. So they explained what would happen or what could happen. She gets there. They look at her passport. They're not bothered about her or anything, but they're going, you were born in California. Why aren't you in the system? And then bam, they do the deep dive. She's in the little room and we're panicking. And I thought, but that wouldn't happen, would it? And then you hear all this in the US, that there are bills to declare trans people be put in institutions. So that's how fast that elevated. So yeah, that's why I think we have to further this, that ACTRA actually has to push the screenies, and the screenies have to push the Emmys and the Oscars, and we have to keep going till it's normalized. End of speech.
I think this award too gives a framework for other folks who do come in with those dots, with those question marks, and the other award categories and other awarding bodies. They can now point to something. And it, you know, as we keep saying, this isn't necessarily this award isn't necessarily perfect and the be all and end all, but it does give a framework. So other folks don't have to ask the questions that got asked at first for us of, okay, well, how many folks have to be nominated? Okay, well, what's the right wording? Okay, like every time that another award pops up of this caliber, there's more rungs to the ladder. There's more fuel for the fire of making this happen. So hopefully, hopefully it does spur on more folks, because there is at least some sort of a framework. And yeah, it is it's a scary time. It's a scary time to exist in this world. It's a scary time to be a trans person, a non-binary person, a queer person in this world. And hopefully this award is a little glimmer of hope.